Today, I'm going to share with you exactly how to avoid painful mistakes with a teleprompter and delivering your lines flawlessly. Here are some of the best questions that I've been asked by my clients and customers. Why do I need this when I have a teleprompter? How can I kick ass with a teleprompter? Teleprompters have two different uses. Either you're giving a live speech or you're recording a video. The key thing when you're recording through the glass is you want to put the camera behind it and cover with a black shroud. This allows you to eliminate those extraneous reflections. And when you're giving a live speech, you actually want two presidential teleprompters set up. This widens your view and you're not putting one teleprompter right in front of your audience. You get to put them on the side and everyone's happy. You can see the entire stage and make that amazing eye contact. A teleprompter allows you to write a detailed script beforehand. So when you get up there and you're delivering it live, you know what you're doing. Or if in the case of a video, you don't have to do so many takes. You can do one take and deliver it flawlessly on the first try. Okay. Oh, hello there. I didn't see you come in. I was too busy reading off this teleprompter. And this helps you deliver your lines faster. You can record without you having as much useless footage. And on stage, if you've practiced and you're comfortable using the teleprompter, then you are gonna kick ass. When delivering speeches, lectures, or advertisements, the talent typically expects the script to be ready for them. And this is great for a number of reasons. But more specifically, if you're hiring someone to be the face of your video, you don't want to waste precious time with doing retakes. You want to get your money's worth. So teleprompting makes a ton of sense because they can deliver their lines flawlessly, accurately, and efficiently, for sure. Okay guys, I've already scripted the next 3 videos with exclusive subscriber-only content. Hit that subscribe button right now. Other speech applications include politicians and live broadcasts where the teleprompter functions as a security blanket in case they forget their lines or their information. By the way, a teleprompter can be extremely helpful when you're going live. It's weird because when you're up close next to someone and you see the contouring, you're like, wow, I look fantastic. This is because you can actually plan out some of your information beforehand while interacting with your audience, of course. And this helps you so you're not flubbing up on camera in front of millions of people. Do I really need a shroud to black out my camera from the back? And the answer is yes, you need to somehow black out the back. And typically this is done with a black shroud or cloth to eliminate those extraneous reflections. But if you're a professional and you have a studio setup, you could simply use a black cloth on the ceiling to get that same effect without actually having to cover the camera. I have my camera set up over here with the display exposed so you can see what I'm seeing through the mirror. And what the camera's seeing, actually. Okay, so I'm going to test it out reading directly from this teleprompter glass so you can see how my eyes look, am I looking straight at the camera, and then also the display quality. Alright, let's get it going. Today, I'm going to reveal to you my top tips from my experience working with teleprompters all day long. The secret to all my perfectly delivered lines is having a big display and a big beam splitter here. I don't have the time or the patience to mess with badly written teleprompter software or figuring out how to get specialized input devices to work. I'd rather spend my time creating killer content. How does teleprompter glass compare to a glass two-way mirror? Glad you asked. Well, notice right away, the glass two-way mirror I have in my hands is very reflective and very dark. So more specifically, it's 70% reflective and only 11% transparent. So you're losing almost all of that display quality coming through the mirror. But with the teleprompter glass, it's optically neutral and it's pretty much the opposite in terms of specifications. It's 70% transparent, not 11%, and it's 30% reflective. So you can read your text clearly, but it's not obstructing your view or your video. What is the purpose of an anti-reflective coating on the backside of a teleprompter mirror? The anti-reflective coating is there to prevent the double image of the text and to eliminate some of those extraneous reflections when you're recording. But what it ultimately does is it makes it easy for you to read the teleprompter. The text is nice and crisp with no double image. What are some advantages of using a black backdrop versus a green backdrop? Hi there, I'm Krista, weather girl for Teleprompter Mirror. And today, it's looking like it's a very sunny day with a slight chance of hurricanes and tornadoes. The most popular backdrop is white, and that's because most websites now are white. And if you're making an informational video for your website, you can embed it directly on the page and it just syncs up with the rest of that page. For instance, if you have a black website, then you would want a black background in your video to have it align with the content. Other popular colors include black, slate gray, and chroma key, aka the green backdrop. But actually, there's two types of chroma keys, which I just found this out. There's a green chroma key, which is the most typical, but for those people that have green eyes, they have to switch to the blue chroma key, and vice versa. For blue eyes, they would go with green. Because when you go into the editing, you don't want to be editing out their eye color. That would just be nuts.
Hey guys, it's James, cameraman and mastermind of Teleprompter Mirror. I just want to take you through some of the popular screen options and why you might want to use them. Now, when I was first going to film Krista, we were thinking of the white background. Everybody pretty much these days has a white background on their website, which is all well and good, but you want to stand out. So what better way if you're going to use like vivid colors and LEDs than with a black background? Then I got to thinking, okay, I really want to have some scenes where we're going different places and I want to just have like some crazy humor going on behind her. Well, so I got thinking the chroma key. Okay, back to you, Krista.
I would say the most advantageous background to have is a chroma key because you can teleport yourself anywhere. You can change your background to any color you want. But for example, if you're going to Las Vegas or you already went and you're recording a video and you forgot a key piece of information in your hotel and you wanted to record it there, well, you can still record it there on your green backdrop, your chroma key. This is huge for news broadcasts and sports teams, anything on TV where they're doing live information, because, I mean, you know the weather, man. He's like, it's slightly cloudy today, and then suddenly it's like clouds are forming in the background. Well, they do that with a chroma key background. That's how they make those dynamic backgrounds possible. Why do you use crazy humor in your videos? It's called a pattern interrupt. Yes, I'm doing it on purpose.
It's getting dark. The lights are coming out.
This is because the average person that's watching a video will only watch for a few seconds, so you better be funny. Otherwise, they're going to click away almost immediately. It's also known as entertainment. People are watching videos because they want to be entertained and they don't want to read an article. And through humor, I have increased my retention rate in videos from about 1 minute watch time to 18 minutes plus, which blows my mind. But it's pretty much because of the humor. What are some other things you can use in your videos? Some of my favorites are B-roll footage, workout videos, dancing, story time, opinions, martial arts, musical instruments. I spend so much time with my cameraman planning out all of our different prop and scene ideas to really break up a video. And then my cameraman makes it a reality by putting it into my scripts. How can I flip my display to show a mirror image? There are so many ways to get this done, and most people think you have to use special teleprompter software, but that's just not true. In fact, I recommend not using teleprompter software. You can use a TV that is mirror flipped, our teleprompter TV, or in my past videos, I've talked a lot about the HDMI mirror box, which it has one function, which I love, and you just plug it in, super simple, plug it in, press a button, and it flips anything. So you can use PowerPoint, PDFs, anything that's on your laptop screen you can use because it just flips the entire screen around. Mind blown. I also really love Chrome plugins. You could use Flip This to do the mirror image along with Dark Reader to turn any website into a black background with white text for teleprompter use. You could even program your own website and do a CSS flip to turn it around. Super simple, easy to do, but you have to have a website. What are the best ways to control my teleprompter? There are so many input devices on the market, I couldn't list them all here. I recommend going on Amazon, but some of my favorites include this Logitech Presenter Remote, or using a foot pedal, especially if you're recording on your own and you need to continue scrolling and you're a one-man crew. You can scroll and just keep recording. Can I use teleprompters for music, lyrics, or guitar tabs? The answer is yes, you can. When musicians are creating music videos, they're often using several different camera angles. Having that one camera angle behind your teleprompter so you can make direct eye contact while reading your music is so powerful. You can also use gimbals and drones to enhance your video, but there's nothing quite like direct eye contact. I'm going to show you an example of how you would use teleprompters with your music via the Ultimate Guitar website. So as you can see here, I have the guitar music up, and then you just simply hit space to scroll. You can also auto scroll. And that gives you a nice comfortable pace when you're reading your guitar. What would you recommend if I want to use it outside? And what about recording through it? Well, there's two main options. If you're actually recording through the glass, you still want to get the teleprompter mirror in the 30R70T, as seen here. But when you take it outside, you definitely want to put a black shroud on the back to cover the camera. That way, you can read your text and you still get that amazing display quality. However, if you're doing a live speech outside, I recommend the outdoor teleprompter. It is super reflective, so you get that nice crisp text. Whoa, look how amazing that looks. You get to see the audience and the text at the same time. And on the right here, we have the presidential with the nice clear glass. Super obvious, but nice. This is great because it is much more reflective. So you're getting a clearer text from the teleprompter without having to put any shroud on it. What does your studio space look like? Well, as you can see here, I have a black background, and it's actually held up with some black gaffer tape, so it doesn't damage the paint on the walls. That allows me to record with mirrors and not get crazy reflections. That's the advantage of this setup. But also I have a green screen, the chroma key. This allows me to use any background. I can turn this green screen into the Super Himalayas or downtown Chicago. I can do anything I want on this side, which is amazing. Up top, I also have a black cloth, and that also helps eliminate those extraneous reflections. With a green screen, I can always be on vacation. What gear do you use? Right now, I'm using 2 oversized presidential teleprompters. They're featuring an 18 by 18 inch beam splitter glass with rounded corners. This allows me to use these 32 inch Samsung displays, and I can see the entire display in the mirror. To connect these 2 displays, I have an HDMI splitter coming from my laptop. That way, when I scroll, I'm not controlling 2 different scroll wheels. They're both connected, so I'm always on the right page. How do you write fast scripts? I don't use teleprompter software because it actually goofs up my tempo and I make more mistakes when using it. I simply use Microsoft Office. This allows me to pre-format my text with the black background and white text, but I can also add extra colors and bullet points to emphasize a certain point, so I don't forget what to say and how to say it. I also like to copy paste my Word document into like an HTML editor or even some browser software. But most of the time, I'm streaming it directly from my laptop, directly to these screens using the Microsoft Word. Between scenes, I audibly speak the subject matter or the scene number. So as soon as I'm done making the videos, I go in and organize and label based on the subject. That makes editing super fast. I have so many techniques that I want to show you in detail about software and hardware that I have to make a sequel to this video. Hit subscribe right now so you don't miss it.